Hello everyone, my name is Rob, welcome to Kinetic Rugby League. In this video, I'll be giving you my Queensland squad for State of Origin with a twist. So the first thing that I want to assure you of is that this is not a work of betrayal, but a work of Photoshop. So you can calm down, you can relax. Nathan Cleary will not be in this Queensland squad, I can promise you that. But what I wanted to do is do something slightly different. We're a few weeks away from game 1 of Origin, and there will be some normal Origin content coming, but I wanted to make a slightly different video, and I wanted to build a Queensland squad where I must use at least one player from every team in the NRL. That's the criteria. And this will be part 1, and part 2 will be the New South Wales squad. Both videos will be uploaded simultaneously. So I have to use at least one player from every team. Now, there are some teams that have no players available, like the New Zealand Warriors. Some teams have one, like the Panthers. Some teams have two, like the Eels. So you've got to kind of see who you can pick. You've got to make sacrifices in some positions to go with the best option in others. So I'm going to give you my starting 13 plus 4-man bench, and I want you to let me know what team you would go with under these circumstances. So, given that the New Zealand Warriors don't have any Queensland eligible players, I can select 2 players from one team, but one of them must be at least on the bench if one of them's in the starting 13. Okay? So, starting with the 13-man squad, I decided to go with Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow at fullback. I think he's been exceptional for the Dolphins this season. I think there is no doubt in my mind he'd get in the actual squad anyway, or at least an extended squad. Whether he'd get in ahead of Kalen Ponga, I don't know. I was considering Kalen Ponga at fullback, but I have to look at other options from the Knights and the best overall team. So moving further up, on the right hand side I went with Selwyn Cobbo from the Broncos, and pairing him at centre is Dane Gagai from the Knights. So that was my Knights pick. Left centre position I went with Valentine Holmes, usually a staple of this Queensland squad, and see no reason not to pick him. On the left wing position, I've mentioned this guy 3 times on this channel, possibly 4, maybe 5. I've raved about this guy, but I'm going to go with Alafiana Khan-Pereira on the left hand side. So right now that covers the Dolphins, Broncos, Knights, Cowboys and Titans. That covers our back 5 players. Moving into the halves, at number 6 I'm going to go with Cameron Munster. He feels like one of those players you just simply cannot leave out of a Queensland team. You just can't. There's incredible depth in terms of options available for Melbourne Storm and the Broncos as well, so it's kind of difficult picking one. But this is why my number 7 is kind of a strange pick, because I'm going to have to go with Braden Trindle. Now, there are only 2 eligible players from the Sharks. There's Trindle and I can't remember the other guy, but I know he's a hooker, but I can't remember who it is, and I don't think he's someone that plays regularly. So I felt that Braden Trindle in this squad has a decent enough kicking game. I think he's played maybe 2 or 3 games for the Sharks this season, has looked pretty good. His kicking game's been fine, and even if he's not doing a good enough job in that department, Cameron Munster can take on that responsibility. This is a hypothetical squad, of course. Moving into the forwards now, Josh Papali'i from the Raiders was a simple decision. There aren't too many options from the Raiders that would clearly get into the squad, and Josh Papali'i is a staple of the Queensland squad at this point, so he easily gets in there. Number 9, I've gone with Reid Marnie from the Bulldogs. I think he's had a pretty strong season so far. He's another one that can add in a kicking game like Braden Trindle, a few 40-20s. Controls the game really well, has tremendous pace going forward, allows the forward pack to dominate through the middle for the Bulldogs a couple times so far this season. And I can see him getting picked in an extended squad. Whether he'll make the final cut in any of the games, I don't know, but I wouldn't overlook him, that's for sure. At number 10, I've gone with Lindsay Collins from the Roosters. I think that rounds out very good front 3. Very strong, very experienced. Looking at number 11, I've gone with Jai Arrow from the Rabbitohs, and at 12 I've gone with Jaden Sewer from the Dragons. And rounding out the 13-man squad, I'm going to go with Jermaine Hopgood from the Eels. I think Hopgood has been quite underrated this season. He's got stuck in quite a bit. I think he's he's either leading or somewhere in the top 5 with tackles possibly, and getting some good tackle busts as well. But looking at the bench now, the first player that I'm going to take, or the first team where I'll take 2 players from them, I'm going to take Harry Grant as my second hooker. It's difficult not putting him in the starting team, or even like Ben Hunt. Do you put Ben Hunt at 7 or at 9, and then so Jaden Sewer comes out, so who do you put in his place? There's a lot of back and forth with who you pick. So my second pick from the same team is Harry Grant as the backup hooker. Number 15 is going to be Eddie Blaker. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but he's the only Panthers player that is eligible for Queensland, so he has to go in the team. He's a prop forward, so that makes complete sense, and that's fine with him going in there. Number 16, from the Manly Seagulls, I've gone with Carl Lawton. Now, there are only 4 players available, one of which is Daly Cherry Evans, and 3 of them are second rowers. And the most experienced of the 3 second rowers was Carl Lawton. Now, I could have put Daly Cherry Evans at 7, but that means having to put maybe Braden Trindle as the number 6, but then you sacrifice Cameron Munster, or as the backup hooker, but then you sacrifice Harry Grant. So that's kind of, again, it's the back and forth and it's the balance. And number 17, I've gone with Joe Ofahengai from the Tigers. Simpkin was an option as the backup hooker. He's who I was leaning towards, but I thought, 3 forwards on the bench plus your backup hooker is completely understandable. And, it's not a bad bench. There's still plenty of strong forwards in there. And you've got Harry Grant coming off the bench as well. So my Queensland squad with a twist, where you have to select at least 1 player from each team, will include Tabai Fidel, Cobbo, Gagai, Holmes, Khan Pereira, Munster, Trindle, Papali'i, Marnie, Collins, Arrow, Sewer, and Hopgood. And on the bench, Grant, Blaker, Lawton, and Ofahengai. So that is the squad that I would go for Queensland under this scenario. Let me know what you think about the squad. If there's any other combination that you'd specifically go with, let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, sorry about the scare with this guy. I'll get it off the screen now, so you don't have to look at it again. But yeah, next up, New South Wales.